Hi, and welcome to another edition of Jules Voto's Photo Focus. Now, I'm a firm believer that the photographer is much more important than any camera or lens. Just look at the great photographs that were made using very primitive equipment. However, sometimes a new piece of equipment can inspire you to be more creative and create images you never would have previously. The Nikon 135 1.8 Plena is such a piece of equipment. Now, I mostly use the Plena for portraits. I mean, that's basically what it was designed for, but it's also great for other things. And as with portraits, I usually shoot it at 1.8. Now, the lens is very sharp at 1.8. It gives you great bokeh. It isolates the subject because of its focal length, and of course the 1.8 aperture. And these few images you're seeing here of the kids at a recent family gathering, they appeared in a previous video of mine talking about the Plena. And I also recently did a portrait session with my niece who was making her first Holy Communion. And in an upcoming video, I'm going to go into more detail with that. I used the Plena at 1.8 and also the 85 1.8. But here are some images with the Plena at 1.8 up in Sandy Hook, New Jersey. I went up there to photograph the lighthouse and saw these flowers. I was happy I had the Plena with me. And I just love the look of this lens at 1.8. And of course it's sharp stop down too, but you buy a 1.8 lens to use it at 1.8. You buy a high speed lens to shoot it wide open, and this lens is just magnificent wide open. Now you can see here I cropped this square. I just love square images. I used a Hasselblad for years, and I still love the square. Now, as I was leaving, I noticed this deer off to the side of the road. I had the lens on my camera sitting in my lap, put down the window on the passenger side, and got this image. And you can see it focused right on the deer's eyes. And even though I just had it set for wide area focus point, I did not have it set for animal detection. And the lens was still at 1.8. So here we are at the New Jersey Botanical Gardens in North Jersey. And there weren't a lot of flowers in bloom. I was here in mid-April, so I'd like to go back. The weather was still a little on the chilly side, so not everything was in bloom. But I hope to go back there. But again, just using the Plena at 1.8, it enables you to just isolate the subject. And these are things I probably not, maybe would not have shot previously without a lens that gave you such narrow field of focus, such shallow depth of field. Previously I shot flowers when I had a 105 2.8, and I sometimes shot it at 2.8, but this lens at 1.8 gives you such a beautiful look at the background on this. I mean, it just isolates this. I don't know what type of flower this is, or it's actually a tree. I'm not sure what it is, but here's another one. Focus is on the flower in the upper right, and it just goes soft as you go back. Again, I cropped this square. I just think it works nicely square. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Just because you're shooting in a 35mm format doesn't mean you have to stick with that format. And here, look at the background on this. It's just, this could not have been done, I don't believe, with anything other than a high-speed medium telephoto lens. Now, this image, that image of the white flowers and these right here, I wanted to use some flash. It was a sunny day. It wasn't the best lighting conditions. So I wanted to use some flash. I was at ISO 64. And I had to stop down to 5.6. So these images are at 5.6. So is this. It's giving you a more depth of field. It would have been nice to be able to shoot this at 1.8, but of course you're limited to shutter speed with flash at a 1/200th of a second on the Nikon Z8. Here's another shot at 5.6. I wanted more depth of field here. So, it's a 1.8 lens. you want to use it at 1.8. You're not going to spend all that money on a lens if you're not going to use it at 1.8, but you still could shoot it stop down. There's nothing wrong with that. If the scene calls for more depth of field, you got it. Just stop it down. And here's another one at 5.6. And it's very sharp. Does it sharpen up? Maybe a little bit, but it's sharp, wide open. And I think this is the last one at 5.6. This is at 2.8. I just wanted to focus on this tree on the left, the pink one. And there's a building in the background. And it's just, again, it's very sharp. And here we are again at 2.8. I focused on these flowers in the foreground, and the background goes softer. With a 135 lens, you're not going to get everything there in focus ever. So now we're back to 1.8, and I think the rest of these images are going to be at 1.8. And look at this, how it just separates that flower from the background, from the other flowers. And the only way to get this is with a wide aperture lens. And here we are with just a little statue in the garden, shot at 1.8. Everything you're going to see the rest of this video was shot at 1.8. Again, here's another one how it just isolates and the background just goes. Same thing here. So this lens is a great portrait lens. It works beautifully for portraits. It's very sharp. With a camera with eye control focus, it will focus right on the eyes. But it's also good for other things. It's more than just the portrait lens. And you could see here, very little is sharp here. But I like this look. You may not, but it's a matter of personal opinion. What you prefer. And some people like this look, some people don't, and that's fine. That's we're all entitled to our opinions. And here I shot up into the sky. It was a nice blue sky, and again, this tree, I think it's a blossom tree. It just looks extremely sharp. The parts that are in focus are extremely sharp, but there's very little in focus. And I shot everything in this video at ISO of 64 with matrix metering with the Nikon Z8. And I used aperture priority because I wanted to keep that aperture for most of these images, as you saw, at 1.8. And my shutter speeds were very high. There was a breeze. So these trees, these flowers, they were moving, but with the high shutter speed, that was not an issue. And here's another one that I cropped square. Now, I want to try this lens with other things now, that I've seen how well it works with flowers. And I just want to go out someday soon and just, do some street type photography, but photographing more on objects, things that I see, isolating various objects, doing some, creative things. And I think a lens like this enables you to be more creative because it enables you to see things with that 1.8 aperture and with that longer focal length. We're used to using 1.8 50mm lenses or maybe 85mm lenses, but the longer lens isolates things and separates things even better. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I publish a new video every Monday morning and Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So I will talk to you next time.